So here's one thing about sports or cricket in general that I love the most is the fascinating facts, numbers and the stats. But let me be clear and rather honest here that I do struggle in digging out stats and numbers, and that's when people like Kinshuk and Alan come into picture, who actually at times help me out in these stats and numbers, who by the way have joined me to discuss and rather preview the second test match that will be played between India and England in Vizag on the 2nd of February. So as I said about fascinating facts, what I meant was, so let's just play a guessing game here. So James Anderson, he made his test debut back in May 2003. Can anybody of you guess what's the surprising element? I think Kinshuk may know.
I know. Alan, why don't you go for this? Come on.
Well, I think the big surprise is that he's going to play with Bashir and Rehan Ahmed, who were not even born at that time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got that one. No, that is easy. I mean, that's where cricket has come to essentially. Weird things are happening. Legends are just, they keep on going, and these youngsters would love to step up to the mantle, right?
Yes. So to give a more clear picture to it, as I said, May 2003 was when James Anderson made his debut, and Shoaib Bashir was born in October 2003, and then Rehan Ahmed, another spinner who will be playing and part of the England squad, he was born in 2004 in August, making me feel old enough. And as I also earlier mentioned that how seniors like Kinshuk and Alan helped me out, I think that will be the very role of James Anderson when it comes to helping out spinners and juniors like Shoaib Bashir.
Making us sound 41, 45-year-old here, but we are not.
I would say
not.
The experience definitely
But
comes
yeah,
in
I
handy.
mean, if you look at James Anderson, the physique that he has and like the form that he shows,
Yes.
I mean, if you are comparing me to James Anderson at the moment, I'll be more than happy, given he is like fine wine, right? Like he has always. Nasser Hussain couldn't just stop saying that he's the greatest ever bowler England has produced, and I think the numbers say for itself. And he's got what, 34 wickets in
13
India.
Test matches.
I thought you said 34 wickets in his career.
No. I'm just
By
saying.
the way, he is nearing 700 Test wickets. That reminded me of that.
So he's got
690.
34 wickets in India since 20.
In 2006 was when he played his very first Test match in India.
It's fascinating because an English pacer has not always been successful in India, right? And James Anderson continues to show that he is one of the best. Mark Wood obviously has pace, but nothing beats the precision and accuracy of James Anderson. So I guess he's a welcome addition to the team.
But Kinshuk, don't you think that more than Anderson being a threat as such to the Indian team, it's the spinners? And one spinner who made his debut, Tom Hartley, 7-wicket haul, completely rattled the Indian team. And then we have Shoaib Bashir, who is finally all cleared up with the visa issues and everything, and now he will be playing against India. Can he be another surprise element that we were not really expecting? What do you think?
Oh, definitely a big surprise. But essentially, we have to look at what this team selection does for England and why did they opt for Jimmy Anderson instead of Mark Wood. My theory is that because England spinners were tiring, they needed a pacer to bowl for longer amount of overs in a stretch. Mark Wood cannot give you that. Mark Wood can give you, but he is very injury prone, isn't he? Cannot bowl full steam. He can bowl full steam throughout, but that hurts him. So I think Jimmy Anderson has been brought to do exactly that, which in turn makes England spinners more potent because they are better rested in the game.
Okay, well, I do agree on that. And, let's talk about India. Enough of the England and everything that we have been talking about. And surprisingly, we haven't mentioned the term Bazballed yet. Because whenever we talk about England, this term definitely comes into picture. But talking about India now. So, it's a kind of depleted attack this time because we already lost the very first test match. And Alan, with Rohit Sharma, with Virat Kohli, I beg your pardon, with Virat Kohli not being there, with KL Rahul and Ravindra Jadeja being injured. Of course, we have new kids on the block, let's say, with Sarfraz Khan and, Rajat Patidar. Either of them can make their debut. So, Can they be that surprise element for the England team?
Well, I think if you look at Rajat and Sarfaraz for that matter, of course they are going to be like one of them will get to play, and I think that is a tough choice for the Indian team management. But both of them have performed well against English opposition right now. If you look at Rajat, I think before the start of the series, he was playing against the England Lions. He scored a 151 when the whole batting lineup just collapsed. Sarfaraz, well, like what can I say? Like everybody is behind Sarfaraz Khan, isn't it? The numbers that he has, I think it is 45 first class matches, 3,912 runs, 69.86 average. I mean, that is absolutely mental. And I think he's kind of a batter who is going to count, like, he's going to be fearless. There is nothing that he can lose at this point in time. You either perform and you're considered yourself as a hero, or like everybody will say, oh, he's given the chance, he did not perform. So I think it's a free hit for him, and that really makes people dangerous. When you have not a lot on your line and you're given a free hit, you can genuinely go for it.
And you know what makes other people dangerous? Corner triggers. Depleted,
Yes.
both in batting and in bowling order. If recent history suggests us something, then depleted sides are the most dangerous in Test cricket. We saw it last week with West Indies against Australia. And if you have forgotten 2021 Gabba defeat or Gabba win, then it is high time that you refresh that memory back. And I don't agree that there is no baggage, where you say that Sarfaraz Khan or Rajat Bhai, that they come in without the baggage. I think there is baggage when you toil for years in Ranji Trophy, not get selected, point out to the selector, and then they remove you from the contention totally, and then you work hard enough and come back in the Indian team. I think there is baggage, but I also think that the baggage will bring the best out of him.
So you are trying to say here that, of course they are match ready, let's say, but you are not playing a domestic match this time. It's an international, representing your country. So I think, is that the kind of baggage that you're talking about?
International match against who?
Against England, who by the way won the very first test match.
One test old Tom Hartley,
Side.
2 tests old Rehan Ahmed, debutant bowler Shoaib Bashir.
Yeah.
The real threat is Joe Root here. The real threat has to be Joe Root here. And that is what I also was thinking, that the step up between domestic and international circuits, I don't think that for the majority part it is there in this test match. And so because of that, I feel whoever comes in, Sarfaraz or Rajat, Dhruv Jurel for that matter, I think they're going to do well. Hopefully.
Okay, so before we were going to discuss this very preview, we're going to preview the very second test match, we were just sitting and doing our work, and that's when Kinshuk said about the predicting playing 11, which you can by the way check out on our website India Today. So Kinshuk suggested Washington Sundar, who by the way has been included to India's squad for the second test match. So he said that how Washington Sundar is a sure shot selection to the playing 11, and I waited for this very moment. Rather than speaking behind the camera, I chose to question and counter him in front of the camera this time as to why not Kuldeep Yadav, and why are you going with Washington Sundar, who does the same thing as of course he's a left arm spinner, but he's an off spinner, but we have an off spinner already. Why would you need?
But that is the thing that, why I agree with him is that we kind of forget that 2021 series, don't we? He was stranded on 96. And, you cannot essentially replace Ravindra Jadeja. What Ravindra Jadeja brings to the team.
Absolutely.
But I think in that series, when I saw India bouncing back after that test match in Chennai, the first loss, and then the second match was also in Chennai, the pink ball test that England media doesn't want to talk about, and then the fourth one came in where Rishabh Pant and essentially Washington Sundar batted brilliantly. I think Washi was stranded on 96. So I don't feel that, if we are looking for batting depth, I think probably Kuldeep might have to, kind of sit out for Washington Sundar. Like you said, he does probably the same things, but I think those kind of things could be what is necessary. You don't need to sometimes go out of your main plan just because you lost a game. You could stick with the same formula. You could bring in almost a similar guy to add more batting depth, and you could get the result as well. I think 2021 proved that.
So just on the basis of batting,
You have made this into a confrontation.
yes.
You have cornered me, and cornered tigers are dangerous. But just before you pitch in, I agree with Alan, because it is because of the batting depth that I think Washington Sundar should come into the team. That's number one.
Yeah.
Second is that Washington Sundar is an extremely forgettable cricketer. You cannot tell me what he was doing in June last year.
Yeah.
Nobody knows, nobody cares. He plays one match, he gets injured, whatever. But what Washi Sundar essentially brings is that right-handed Akshar Patelness. He's very tall. He can turn the ball, not turn the ball, but he can bowl at pace and turn that a little bit away from the left-hander. And the extreme valuable asset of scoring runs. Why did India lose the test match? The first test match, I believe it was because of our batting depth. We cannot be reducing the batting depth to add an extra spinner. If Kuldeep Yadav is to play, if you think Kuldeep Yadav should come in, I think India have to bench one pacer, and that would be Mohammad Siraj. Else, I do not agree that there is a space for Kuldeep Yadav in this current 11 at all.
So Mohammad Siraj for Kuldeep Yadav is what you see. And as you talked about batting, that has been another issue for us. That's what we saw in the very first test match, right? And of course, there are a lot of videos and articles that you will find on India Today website that we have done, where we have talked about Shreyas Iyer, Shubman Gill's struggles, and then how we missed kind of Virat Kohli's presence, his very aura that he creates by his very presence in the team. And that brings me to batting, as I said, and Rohit Sharma. As a batter, as a captain, there's a lot of things that are on stake, I think, at the moment. So I think he needs to step up this time as a batter more than captaincy is something, yes, we have been seeing that how he captains, but the batting, of course, he was trying to play that attacking style of play that other players were lacking, but he just couldn't convert his start when we were chasing down those 231 runs.
Rohit Sharma hit.
I'm not. No.
So I think that was the story of the entire Indian batting lineup, right?
Yeah.
You had Yashasvi Jaiswal not out on 76. Now next day morning I wake up, I'm expecting 100. He gets out for 80.
Yeah.
KL Rahul 86. Okay, I decide, let me just take a nap. I'll come back. KL Rahul 100. Not happened. Ravindra Jadeja 87. I'm expecting another 100. Went to grab a coffee, came back, he's out. And India got bowled out. So it's not just Rohit Sharma here. I think the Indian batting needs to find that right intent. Because, are you going to attack like Bazballed?
Yeah.
If no, then what is your strategy? Is it going to be, we are going to be ultra defensive like Cheteshwar Pujara? That is the problem that I see with a guy like Shubman Gill. He's not being himself. He's trying to be the next Cheteshwar Pujara. See, nobody can be the next Cheteshwar Pujara. He is a one-of-a-kind player, great talent. You are now banking on Shubman Gill. Let him play that number 3 role freely. So he is somewhere caught between should I defend or should I attack? I think that has been the problem with the Indian batting.
Shubman Gill is playing freely, man. He's a free wicket. What do you want?
What
is your point?
That is the problem right now.
But I liked what you said. It's a tale of two halves, isn't it?
Yes.
First innings, you try and hit runs. You try to go for big shots, you get out. Second innings, you are ultra defensive, trying to survive, and you get out.
Yeah. So for me, that is the only thing that needs to be sought out, because the talent is obviously there. Me sitting here and questioning, should Rohit Sharma prove himself or step up? No, he doesn't need to. His runs speak for themselves. He's one of the great batters that we have produced in our generation. You don't need to talk that about Shubman Gill as well. The only thing is we need to find out, what is going to be our mantra here? If Bazballed is attacking us, are we going to counter it?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be one or two batters who are going to play that counter-attacking role? Like probably a Yashasvi Jaiswal could play it. Or probably a Shreyas Iyer could play it. So it is all about identifying that intent. And that was missing in the first game. And converting the big scores.
And yes, as Alan mentioned about Shreyas Iyer, that's what I was coming to. And him being a revered player as a great player of spin. All that went down the drain, I think, in the very first test match. As we saw, he wrapped up his wicket and gave it as a gift to the England team. So,
So, Shubman Gill copped a lot of criticism for his how he played, and I don't think Shreyas Iyer copped that much, but I think he should. If Shubman Gill has to be questioned, Shreyas Iyer needs to be questioned as well. It doesn't take away that he's a brilliant batter against spin. It's just that conversion rate has been very low and he has not been able to step up. We have seen Shreyas Iyer do that in the previous tour of Bangladesh, where he and Ashwin won the game for India, second test, in a horrible pitch for India.
yeah.
And one can only hope that Shreyas Iyer does that once again. The point here could be is, again, it all comes down to approach, what Alan is saying. What are you doing and when are you doing? The timing matters so much. It has been a fashion for the Indian team that whenever we are put in pressure for a prolonged amount of time. Prolonged, I mean game time. You see in the World Cup final, when Shreyas Iyer gets out, KL Rahul and Virat Kohli go into a shell. Virat Kohli was batting very well, KL Rahul could not. And from there, we just crumbled. Against Australia, who were put in tremendous amount of pressure for the first 10 overs by Bumrah, but they found a way to survive. And they won the game. That, I think, is not happening with India. I think it's still a mentality issue, and they just need to find a way to survive, what essentially Bazball is based on.
Funnily enough, when you made that comparison right now about that ODI World Cup final, I think it's almost like the same script happened in the first test as well. Oli Pop found a way like Travis Head, and he escaped, and he opened the door for England to win the match. Just like, I think, probably whatever India put up in that game, like the bowling did well. Same thing happened there. The second innings, I think the bowling was not bad till the point I think Pop got to his 50 and then started to just play freely. Got that one partnership with Ben Foakes, and that just took the game away from us.
And I just want to quote Ted Lasso here, for the people who have seen it know. Sometimes you have to be like a goldfish. Sometimes you just need to forget a bad day. Sometimes you need to forget a bad match. Yeah, all departments failed. Most of the players failed in the second innings of the match. Forget that. It's a fresh team. Let's have a fresh start.
And I think this is the kind of mantra our Indian team also lives up to. Like you see Kuldeep Yadav visiting a temple, and then all the press conferences that we have been covering, you see Vikram Rathore, you see KS Bharat, they are pretty much chilled out, to be very honest. And that's how it should be, no matter how much discussion, engaging discussions or intense discussions that we get involved in. I think this Indian team is still pretty much sorted in their head as to what they need to do. But prediction time, what are your predictions for the second test match?
Well, I think being chilled out is one thing. Even I was chilled out during my engineer exams, and that didn't turn out well. But yeah, I think there will be a better performance. Obviously, everybody would want India to win. But I think the biggest thing that we would see is a little more clarity when it comes to the approach. I think the bowlers and the team in itself needed to attack a little more. I think that we would get to see. If we are getting to see that during this match, I think that is a big win in itself. So yeah, I think India will win, but what I am looking for is that clarity of approach and intent. If we can see that, that is great for me.
I think India will bat better, much better, but it will be 2-0 Bazballed.
So, okay, if you ask me, I think India will push for a draw, is what I am thinking. Although the Bazball kind of play doesn't really allow you to draw a test match, but I think India would like to salvage their pride. I'm not really confident with this team winning a test match, so I'll just hope.
So we've got all three possibilities right here.
And yeah, that's pretty much it about the preview, the pre-match discussion before the second test match that begins on 2nd of February. This is me, Diya Kakkar, signing off with Kinshuk Kasari and Alan John.